Welcome to day 356 of the New Way. I'll read John 21:15 through 19. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," he said, "you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." The third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, "Do you love me?" He said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep. Very truly, I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, "Follow me." Not only did Jesus reenact the disciples' call to be fishers of men, Jesus specifically singled out Peter to make sure he understood his calling. Jesus had called him to shepherd and guide many, but Jesus knew that he was questioning this call and whether he was still qualified to fulfill that calling since he had denied Jesus. Jesus knew that he needed extra reassurance. I've heard hundreds of sermons on why Jesus asked Peter 3 times and what it all meant. All I know is that Jesus asked Peter 3 times to affirm his love. I believe it was because Peter denied him 3 times, but I don't know for sure. You may need to review day 300, when Peter proclaimed that he would gladly die for Jesus to protect him. Here Jesus shares with Peter that indeed he would die for him. That's the meaning of having his hands bound and being taken where he doesn't want to go. Other sources tell us that Peter was killed for his faith at a later time. But in the meantime, he became a strong and faithful follower of Jesus. We don't know where following Jesus will take us. I certainly could not have imagined all the things I've done and places I've gone and ways that God has used me. All I can tell you is that sometimes it was great fun, very exciting, very satisfying and thrilling, and sometimes it was hard and lonely and painful. But remember this, you don't know where life will take you if you don't follow Jesus. I highly recommend that you choose to invite Jesus in and follow him in obedience, because the reward of his presence and his pleasure is worth it all. And then we'll have all eternity together with him. But there's more here than just Peter's recommissioning. I want you to look at Jesus' example to us. He has called us to follow his example, and we talked a few days ago about his providing us with the Holy Spirit to empower us to do so. Now, I don't know whether Jesus officially forgave Simon Peter when they met on that Easter Sunday afternoon. What was said was not recorded. It is mentioned in Luke 24:34, and we mentioned it on day 349. But in this picture of Jesus meeting with Peter, we see Jesus practicing something that he preached: forgiveness and restoration of fellowship. Jesus was human. He had feelings. He feared the soldiers' cruelty, and his best friend bailed on him. Not only had Peter fallen asleep when he should have been praying for Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, but then he disowned Jesus when Jesus needed him the most. All four gospel writers recorded this horrendous dishonor of their friendship. Only Luke records that Jesus looked at Peter, caught his eye for just a moment when Peter denied him for the third time. That's found in Luke 22:60 and 61. I wonder what was in that look. Was it pain? Was it love and understanding? Was it resignation and acceptance? I don't know, but whatever it was, we know that Peter went out and wept bitterly. That's day 313. Now Jesus has resurrected from the dead, and Jesus calls on Peter to affirm his love, and Jesus affirms his love and Peter's calling. So we know that Jesus forgave Peter even when the hurt was humongous. Jesus taught us that if we don't forgive others, then God won't forgive us on day 83. Jesus does not ask us to do what he himself has not done. Is there someone that you need to forgive? In his service, Dale.